Is there a setting for affinity on that machine?
Okay.
Yeah,
Can you just point it that way and
Yeah, I'll point it that way. Do you want me to turn it on? Do I have to hit anything? It might be on.
I see the red light here blinking.
And I see the green one on this side. Okay.
Raise your hand if you've ever been 6 years old. There I was, 6 years old, sitting in the back seat of my dad's station wagon. I got my arms around the family dog, Spot. Now, Spot is very proud today because he is graduating from dog obedience school. In the front seat, Mom says, "Dick, how long have we been doing this?" 10 weeks, Ruth. One night a week. Suddenly I lean forward from the back seat and I say, "Dad, can I go to obedience school too?" Richie, why would you want to go to obedience school? That's only for dogs. So you'll pat me on the head and say, "Good job." Has something like this as a kid ever happened to you? Leo Buscaglia, in his book, Loving Each Other, says that what happened here in this car happens often to all of us, whether we are young or old. Have you ever felt like, as a kid, that the dog was getting more praise than you? Leo Buscaglia in his book says, "Tell me often that you love me, with your talk, with your actions, with your gestures. Don't assume that I know it. And if I say, I don't need that, don't believe me. Do it anyway." When I was 35 years old, I moved home to live with my parents for 3 long months. It was awful. I later found out that my parents told all their friends, "It's awful." One morning, about 7 o'clock in the morning, my dad was on his way to the bathroom and he stuck his head in my room. It was total chaos. 3-piece suit hanging on the doorknob, a laundry piled high blocking the closet door, my sweaty, wet running clothes making a mark on the hardwood. He looked around and he said, "Rich, why do you do this?" And he walked out. Now, me being the adult 35-year-old, I felt guilty. And that night, downstairs in the basement, I washed the clothes, got them dried, folded them up, brought them upstairs, put them away, cleaned up the room. I even had a flower in a vase on the nightstand. It was a spiffy looking room. The next morning, my dad's on his way to the bathroom again, and he sticks his head into my awesome, amazingly clean room. He looks around and he says, "Rich, why do you do this?" I said, "What, Dad?" He said, "You left the light on in the basement all last night." And he walked out, gone. All I wanted him to say was 2 words. Good job. 2 words. I'm reminded of a poem by Dale Carnegie. Once I did bad, and that I heard ever. Twice I did good, And that I heard
Never.
Now, I am not picking on my dad. There is a whole lot of my dad in me. Jess Lair, in his book, I Ain't Much Baby, But I'm All I've Got, says, praise is the sunlight that warms the human spirit. We can't flower and grow without it. And yet somehow we are so quick to blow the cold winds of criticism on our fellow human beings and almost reluctant to give them the warm sunshine of praise. Sometime afterwards, I got a phone call from my mom when I was at Kent, Ohio, about 50 miles south of Cleveland. Rich, this is your mother. Your father is graduating from Eucharistic Ministry seminar this Sunday at St. John's Cathedral downtown. It's a big deal. The bishop is going to be there. It would be nice if you could be there. I showed up late the next day, sat in the back of the cathedral. My dad never saw me. At the end of the service, I was standing out on the steps. He came out, he saw me. I walked toward him, he walked towards me. I looked him in the eye and I said, Dad, good job. He hugged me and he said, Rich, I love you. And he broke down in tears. And I hugged him back and I said, Dad, I love you too. I leave you with the words of Oscar Hammerstein, who wrote a poem and he gave it to Mary Martin on his deathbed. And it's, a bell is not a bell until you ring it. A song is not a song until you sing it. Love in your heart wasn't put there to stay. Love isn't love until you give it away.
Thank you very much, Rich. I'd just like to remind all of you that we have these little notes in front of us, so please go ahead and pass a note over to Dr. Briner. Of course, his evaluation will be coming up in the evaluation portion of the second speaker this morning.